Hey everybody, this is Dr. Langdon, board certified pediatrician, mom of 6, grandmother to 2, and currently the chair of peds at Campbell's Med School, coming to you today with some tips that I hope you'll find helpful for studying, things that I found successful when I was in medical school. First of all, you're always warned that the amount of information you need to learn, understand, memorize is going to be overwhelming, and it's often likened to drinking water from a fire hydrant. And I would say that's probably true. And if anything, we've just gotten more and more information through the years. The advantage to you guys is that you can look things up much easier. I can remember straight up memorizing textbooks. We didn't have the internet then for me just to look something up or the latest research or the up-to-date guidelines. So at least you have that. But then on the other hand, it's as if there's even more things for you to be responsible for. So let me share a couple of things I would recommend for you guys as if you were my own children. I would recommend that you study every single day. I know it's a lot, but it is not helpful to cram this tremendous amount of information into your noggin the night before the exam because you need sleep the night before the exam. Another thing I found is that this is just me, it may not be you, but I always had those butterflies before an exam, but I've started to redefine that as that is cortisol. Stress hormone, yes, that's bad, but still, that is adrenaline coursing through my veins, making my brain power superior and bronchodilating my lungs and giving me better oxygenation and my heart's beating faster and woo, I'm ready to perform. And kind of an exciting, like, at least today, there's no more information to memorize because today's an exam day. Today's the day I can show the professors I did memorize all this information they gave me. So break it up into as small of a chunks as possible, but try to study every single day so your brain has a chance to lay down those memories and try to get decent sleep with a similar bedtime every single night. If you're studying and you fall asleep, jump up, do a little bit of exercise to get your blood flowing and try to get back on it. Certainly overusing caffeine is not helpful for you, but I will confess that I used a fair bit of caffeine back in the day, and that was before I knew how bad artificial sweeteners were and all of that. So mainly I just lived on Diet Coke and microwave popcorn, which are terrible now. We know, of course, I don't do that anymore. And now it's coffee. But back then it was Diet Coke. So I always had a same place to sit. So it may be helpful for you guys to find a place that's relatively distraction free. I would often chew gum if I wasn't snacking and drinking my Diet Coke. That can help you focus a little bit. I made flashcards, and you guys may do some electronic version of this, but it helped me to physically write out the facts I was trying to memorize, whether it was in pharmacology or microbiology or whatever it was, it helped me. It also, I like dry erase boards. I use those now if I have a large amount of information to remember or I'm trying to memorize a script or something like that. I'll write it out on a dry erase board. You guys could do that and then take a picture of it maybe on your phone to study at other places. So similar spot, caffeine, yes for me. Small amounts frequently, write it out. And I'll tell you, I use mnemonic devices. I love acronyms. Now, they have done me wrong. I probably told you guys the story. I can remember clearly sitting in the middle of a board exam and realizing that one of my mnemonic tricks had done me wrong. So I remember memorizing TPAM, for female puberty, T-larky, pubarchy, adrenarchy, menarchy, TPAM, easy peasy. But then the exam question was, what is the order of the heart valves in which they're affected by rheumatic heart disease? So in other words, which one comes first? And I remember sitting there thinking, oh, crap. When I was trying to memorize, TPAM for puberty, I didn't think about that could also be tricuspid pulmonic aortic mitral, right? And that is not the same order. The order for the rheumatic heart disease is MATP, MATP. So some people will advise you to come up with a picture of there's a mat with P on it or whatever to help your brain put all these things together. But for the orders of the heart valve in which they're affected, it's mitral, aortic, tricuspid, pulmonic, not the same as T-larky, pubarchy, adrenarchy, menarchy. So be careful with your mnemonic devices because every now and then they can do you wrong. But I did use a ton of them and I found it helpful just to straight memorize a whole lot of different mnemonic devices. There are even now online things, some wonderful ones of all different kinds of online med ed and mnemonic device companies and all kind of things you can come up with. It's also helpful to study with friends. Now, when I was a student way back in the day, over 30 years ago, well over 30 years ago now, I had a group of friends that were the married folks. and both the husbands and wives, but I would often get together with my female friends who were also married, because a lot of folks in our school weren't married at that time, and we would study together. I can specifically remember that we had a box of bones in gross anatomy that we were able to check out, sort of like checking a book out of the library, except, human bones, real ones. And then we would take them home and meet at one person's house and then just all study them to study for the gross anatomy exam. Of course, it got harder after that when they started throwing in the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons and the arteries and the nerves and the veins, bleh, and all the organs. But the bones were like the very introductory week, I guess. And I do remember studying together. That can be very helpful, because what if you're not thinking of a concept properly, and then one of your friends says, oh wait, you're not thinking about that right, it's like this, and that could help you study better for your exams. So please remember to get some sleep the night before an exam. I don't think caffeine's evil, but too much of it is. Write things down, memorize, make lists, use mnemonic devices, and break it up into small chunks so you're not left just the night before the exam to memorize everything. I hope this was helpful, you guys. And there are all kind of different mnemonic devices, not just letters. I've taught you guys about the ways to remember the congenital cyanotic heart disease lesions. 1, truncus arteriosus. 2 is a transition of the great arteries. 3, tricuspid atresia. 4, tetralogy of Fallot. And 5, total anomalous pulmonary venous return, because it's 5 letters. So I don't want you to think mnemonic devices are just letters, acronyms. It can be so much more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for congenital cyanotic heart disease, for example. So good luck on exams.